Hey everyone, welcome to the launch of the new Shure Axient Digital ADX5D portable receiver. With me today are two amazing guests. Our good buddy, Mr. Vinod Subramanian.
Hi.
Vinod is one of the most experienced sound recordists in this country, and he's also the owner of Overtone Audio. And to his right is Mr. Vinit Vashishta. Vinit has a company called Laconic Sound. He's mixed, in fact, one of the latest projects that he's mixed is Harmony with A.R. Rahman, which was possibly one of my favorite web series at the moment. So we are here to talk to you and to introduce to you the ADX5D. The ADX5D is the last puzzle in what we call the Axient Digital ecosystem. And that includes, racks, it includes various types of transmitters, it includes, plug-on transmitters, etc. And what it's very well known for is extremely high performance RF, superb audio quality, command and control, either from a software or from an iPad or an iPhone. And hardware and scalability means you can start in one place and then you can scale up the system as you require. Before we talk a little more about the Axient Digital ADX5D, I have a question for Vinod, and this goes back a few years when, Vinod, you had met some of the team from Shure when they were down in India.
Yes.
And you spoke to them about what?
When Axient was first introduced in India, my first question to them was, how are we going to power these receivers when we are in the field? And when I say the field, it can mean anything. It can be inside of a roadside or a jungle or inside a moving bus, because that's what we do. We do location sound for film and television, right? So the answer was at that time, it's coming. It took some time, but
this was a while back, and it's been a long work in progress, but it's finally here.
Yes, it's here now. Yes, and I'm very happy that it, the Shure people actually, put their money where their mouth is, which is really important, in our business. And even if it's taken a bit of time, there have been various changes, improvements, and new products in the market over these last 5 years.
Right.
And the technology has also changed. We have multiple options for digital wireless now.
Yeah.
Okay. But looking at Shure, there's one thing that I can say, which is that the current location sound part of the Axient Digital is built on the Axient Digital platform, which is a very robust and time-tested platform by now.
Yeah.
You can say it's well time-tested.
Yeah. And I have a question also for Vinit. And Vinit, we were fortunate enough to have him as one of the beta testers for the product. We started beta testing in India, I think it was late December. And Vinit got his hands on the unit and took it out for a shoot. So just tell us something about, your experience with the device, on location, and some of the key features that you really found interesting.
So I was using the Shure. I mean, I've got my hands on it in January for the first time. I mean, I was not very familiar with the Shure Axient digital system at all. And so there was a bit of a learning into the whole thing. And so, yeah, I mean, the best part was, I mean, you were there to introduce us to the whole system. It's quite an intuitive system, and, like a couple of hours into it, and we were like up and running with it.
It's not a very steep learning curve.
It's not really. It's just that you got to, because, we've been using different wireless systems. So
Some of the terminology is different.
The terminology is different. Yeah. So
what we know something as X, now we need to know it as, it's not just X, but it can also be called Y.
Y. Yeah.
So there's...
Absolutely. Did you end up using the remote control feature, which is actually what this thing is known for?
Yeah, so with the current way, the way we've been shooting past few years, there are barely any chances of rehearsals, these days, and especially I've been doing a lot of OTT formats. So, what you do is you get the actors, you straight away go mic them up, and in the next few minutes, you're just like up and running. So it gives you barely any chances to, fix the gain because there are no rehearsals. So you got to be sure as to, your headroom, you have enough headroom. Yeah. So the best part about, what I found with the Shure was you have, with the Shure link, you could control the transmitter right from the receiver. Yeah. So I used that a lot because I was doing a lot of dynamic scenes while I was using it. So that came in very handy. Plus, I love the feature of just scanning, pick the best frequency, and I just have to hit deploy, and it, deploys the frequency onto the digital transmitters, the ADX1M and the ADX1.
Awesome, awesome. So the Axient digital platform has actually been out for quite a while, and it's become quite the standard when it comes to live sound productions and theater. And it's with immense pleasure that we can now bring that same technology to the world of location sound recording. So we're extremely happy with that. To basically sum up the Axient Digital in 3 short points, firstly, you get the Axient Digital quality, which is quite legendary. You get it in a portable form factor, so it's convenient. And it's an extremely proven standard, just like Vinod mentioned. It's a proven standard for many years now for broadcast and for theater and for live events. So if you have a quick overlook of the device, I'll let Vinod guide you through the device a little bit.
It's a standard slot receiver, 2-channel, and you have a choice of either using a standard, backplate adapter, which gives you audio outputs and Hirose for a power input, or you can change it to a D-sub, and you can use it in, let's say, like what we've done here, this is a PSC 6-pack, which can take 3 slot receivers, and you can use 2 regular antennas or shark fin antennas for more gain, and it distributes the RF across the 3 receivers into 6 channels, and so you get 6 channels of wireless audio out of this box if you put in 3 slot receivers. And the other thing is, you might notice that there is a small stubby antenna in here, which you will not find on other, 2-channel slot receivers. Now, this is the antenna for the control signal. Now, the one great feature, and really something that's the need of the hour today, considering that we are in these times where, you don't want to go and touch an actor more than once in a day, maybe,
But not only that, don't actors get literally quite hyper when you guys approach them to make changes?
Some actors are not very friendly to the sound department, let's put it that way. But we need to get the job done. Yeah. So there's always some amount of friction that one needs to expect when one's on the set. But apart from that, now we have a genuine problem, which is that, you need social distancing to be, in vogue during the shoot. And so the lesser number of times I go and have to pull a transmitter out of, underneath clothing because we need to conceal, for fiction. And then change parameters, put it back. The lesser number of times, the better. So now this little antenna I was talking about is the control signal antenna, okay? And this sends out the control signal to the transmitters. If you want to change a parameter in the transmitters, that signal goes out through the small stubby antenna. And the interface, it's got a nice OLED
Yeah, that's
screen.
what I was just turning it on. And the thing is, the OLED display actually gets pretty bright. So even if you're in, harsh, bright sunlight, you can turn up, at the moment it's in medium brightness, but you can actually turn up the brightness and it gets extremely bright. But there are ways in the software where you can, time it out after a few seconds, 10 seconds. Currently, we've set it to be on for at least 5 minutes. So yeah, it's an extremely nice, bright OLED display, so you won't really miss anything, or it will be pretty easy to read, like in the in bright sunlight.
And then on the bottom of the panel, you have a USB-C port, and you have a 3.5 mm headphone jack output. So the USB-C is good because you can quickly do firmware
It's
updates
firmware
and stuff,
updates, yeah. Yeah.
very easily with, full compatibility between the
Right.
software and
Right.
the device.
Right. Right.
Earlier, we had lots of problems with, using serial ports to do this, etc., etc.
Right.
But those days are gone,
Right.
right? And
Yep.
it's
Cool.
a pretty robust package,
Yep.
yes, I must say.
We generally put all transmitters in a strap, so depending on where we are placing it on the actor.
Yeah, no, the receiver.
So, but yeah, receiver. I mean, it was safely put in the receiver rack. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Generally,
mean,
don't drop.
yeah, I mean, and generally I am quite careful with
course, of
dropping
course.
stuff. So yeah.
Of course.
But still, as you say, the interface part, which is what the front panel is very robust, and it looks very solid in terms of any liquid ingress or
right.
anything.
Right. Absolutely.
Having said that, of course, nobody is going to expose it.
Of course.
If any inadvertent, splash or something happens, you can
absolutely.
be rest assured that your receiver is going to continue working.
Absolutely. The next topic that we're going to address is ShowLink. And ShowLink has two modes of running, and it's basically a process by which we can remote control transmitters. And you can remote control them from your receiver. And we also have an app for iOS, which can remote control both the receiver and the transmitter from your phone. Now, ShowLink is Zigbee, okay, 2.4. It's an industrial version of like a 2.4 signal. So you do get actually pretty good range for remote control, which is important because you should not be getting like, a good RF signal, but at that point you can't remote control the devices.
Yeah. So, let's talk a little bit about the history of this whole remote control.
I want to bring Vinith also here
thing on
in this discussion because he's one of the guys that's used. Used it quite.
See, basically, what I'm going to talk about is how the other systems did it,
Right.
and how this does it,
Right.
and the advantage of the system. Okay. So earlier, we had certain products which had the transmitter control from a remote device instead of having to touch the transmitter itself.
Right.
Okay. Some of them used infrared, where you needed to point the device, the control device, at the transmitter. Some of them used a sound signal through the microphone. Okay. That worked pretty well, but it had its own pitfalls. Like, there are two actors standing right next to each other. I want to send that remote signal, which is actually a sound signal, through the microphone. This one also hears it, and this one also obeys the same command, whereas this one is not supposed to.
So not supposed to.
So issues like that. And now, of course, we also have Bluetooth.
Right.
Okay. But so far, of all the remote control systems that I've seen, this one has been the most robust so far.
Right.
In fact, we even did that walk test.
We did a walk test a few days ago, and we in
Yeah.
fact have excerpts from that walk test. At some point, you'll get to watch that walk test.
So the fact that this is on 2.4 is, of course, yes, one might think, oh, 2.4, there's so much 2.4
Right.
in the air.
Right.
But it's a Zigbee protocol.
Right.
And if one knows what the Zigbee protocol is, it is extremely robust.
Right.
Because it is used in a, industrial mode,
Yeah.
so to speak, to keep it simple here. So I found that from the walk tests that we did, the control signal was pretty robust. Vineet, what do you think in the field? How robust was it?
Yeah, we have to remember that we checked it out in the office
Line
or
of sight.
line of sight, but Vinith actually had it on a shoot for a few days.
Yeah,
So
so I mean, that was one thing that I was super excited about, try it in the field while I was using this system. So, because generally what happens is when you go ahead miking the actor, generally I would want to mic the actor, and if I want to go back to the actor in, let's say, another half an hour, I would want to go there to only adjust the microphone, just the placement. I wouldn't want to go, and because actors, over all these years, the acting has become very dynamic, So all the actors, they want to improve their performances. Sometimes they would be like whispering, and in the same, in the same scene, they would immediately go very, very loud. So sometimes if I have to just, if I have to just like, like decrease the gain at all,
So that means you have to go back to
Exactly.
the actor, pull it out,
pull it
make
out,
that change,
check
which is
exactly.
yeah.
And so that's what I said. Like I would want to go to the actor just to change the
Change the
microphone
position.
placement, not to really change any configuration
Correct,
on the
correct,
transmitter.
correct.
So that is something. So even with other wireless systems, I mean, you have to go close to the actor
Yeah.
and feed an audio signal
Right.
to reduce and control change the gains and everything else. In this one, you don't really have to go anywhere. You have to be right where your card is, where your system is, and yeah, you pretty much just change the gains or even the RF power on the if you know that your actor is going a little far off, or know that the actors are going to go a little far away.
Yeah.
You can just pump up the RF power.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
So it worked pretty good.
it worked pretty
on
well. It
location.
worked pretty well. Yeah, I mean that was one thing that I was just doing pretty much on an everyday basis.
Lovely, lovely. A few other features which are actually also very important is what we have is a 5-segment channel quality meter, which is, yeah, you've put a frequency, the device has scanned, it's put a frequency into the device, but how do you know what the actual quality of that frequency is? How do you know if there is actually some kind of interference in the vicinity? That's where the channel quality meter comes in. So it'll actually indicate to you on the device itself how robust that frequency that you've chosen is. Yeah. Other features would be like a 3.5 mm audio output, USB-C for firmware update. Even the 3.5 mm output has various modes of operation, so you can run it in balanced, unbalanced, in mix. You can separate, so you can have the left channel on one side, you can have the right channel on the other side, which gives you another, just another step of control. Removable antennas, of course, with SMA connectors, high resolution OLED display, and a very streamlined, very straightforward user interface. And if I may just add, the menu system is just divided into 3 parts. So one part, if you just think about it, is just overall features of the device. The next menu item is overall features of channel 1, and the last is overall features of channel 2. So it's just very simple, very easy to understand, and not a very difficult learning curve.
Not
say.
at all.
Yeah,
Not at all.
pretty straightforward. And these are the various options of accessories that come with it. So a TA3 backplate. Then we also have a DB15 connector and a DB25. So we are actually using the 25-pin super slot to connect to the 6-pack. The other powerable options are, you can power it via the backplate, via a 4-pin Hiroshi connector. Yeah, that is this one right here.
Industry standard.
Industry standard. Yeah. Or you can use an L-type battery, which is something like I have over here. So, I have an L-type battery sled and a typical L-type battery, and something like this would power it for a pretty long time. Yeah, and there are 2 slots. So the idea behind the 2 slots is not because it's power hungry. It's purely because the batteries are hot swappable. So you could, if you were in a really pressing situation and you were losing, battery life on this, you could actually slot in another battery and pull this one out, and the unit would stay on. So that's quite an important feature. There's also a AA sled, which is exactly like this, but takes AA batteries.
How many
It's five AA batteries. Yeah. And last accessory that we have is what I've used for this camera, which is a cold shoe mount. So this is ideal for if you're doing work like this, maybe even YouTube stuff, where you could actually mount this straight to the camera, and then you could take the analog outs if required to a recorder, or take them directly out to the microphone in of the camera.
Actually, in the film industry, we might end up using something like this kind of a rig.
Yeah.
With action cameras like GoPros and stuff,
Yeah.
Rigged into
Yeah.
cars,
Yes.
many times. And, getting sound out of that is a challenge at times,
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah, I just put this in and, put this rig, add it to the camera rig,
Yeah.
and then I'm good to go.
Yeah,
Really.
And just to give you like an idea of, for example, the power usage. Now, if I just pull this battery out to see what the power was, this is a 32.5 watt-hour battery, Okay.
And 7 volt, 7 point.
Yeah, 7.4 volt battery. And in our testing, I would get around 8 hours of life from one battery, so 16 from two. You can use lower power batteries, but obviously that would change your the battery life of the device. So it's not extremely power hungry, good amount of runtime on these batteries. Okay, so we're going to quickly run through the various transmitter options. And one of the first ones that we have here is the plug-on, the AD3. And we have a special guest in our studio. His name is Sher Khan.
Hi, how are you? So let me introduce Sher Khan. He's one of the premier boom operators in the country. And so Sher is more comfortable with Hindi.
Yeah, of course.
So Sher, मेरे भाई, ये Shure का नया plug-on transmitter है.
बहुत अच्छा है, heavy duty.
So solid बनाया है ना?
solid body.
It's very solidly built. And आप वजन कैसे लग रहा है आपको?
ये normal है ना,
अपना दूसरे plug-on transmitter से थोड़ा ज़्यादा है.
थोड़ा सी है, इससे कुछ इतना फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. बहुत अच्छा है.
boom operate करते हुए आपको फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा.
कोई तकलीफ नहीं होगा.
And the thing also with this is that there is a locking screw here. So once the unit goes in, once the mic
Once
goes in,
you put the mic लगाने के बाद में ठीक से lock हो
twist
सकता
करके
है.
lock करते हैं.
That's the good part of this. Plus इसमें जो
Battery options is rechargeable and standard AA. Let me help you. There you go. Yeah. So
दो
two
AA
AAs,
battery,
or
know.
you can use a Shure
we got
rechargeable battery.
NIMH rechargeables in there. You know. तो सिस्टम भी काफ़ी सिंपल है. और
Yeah.
of course we have a USB port anyways that you know.
And there's an interesting thing about it now. You can tell me if that could be used. That you can take out the batteries and you can plug a USB-C power source into this. So you can actually run it. I mean, it's an option, but
we will probably never use that option.
right.
Considering the fact that the USB-C is not a lockable port.
Not a lockable
so
port, yeah. Absolutely.
Anything that's not lockable is
Absolutely.
taboo actually.
Correct,
You know,
correct.
so why would
Absolutely.
you want to risk that?
के लिए use कर सकते
You can use it to rig if
To
you
rig.
want to do a plant somewhere. But I think with the power efficiency of these units,
Yeah.
running it on two AA NIMH batteries of
Yeah.
say 2,500 milliamp amp per battery
Yeah.
would give a pretty solid
Yeah. It's about
performance.
6 hours with the phantom power on.
I think that's
so,
fantastic.
Like no real
so
issue
I
there.
wouldn't even think about using that USB-C to
See,
power it.
yeah,
Really, honestly.
Yeah. I guess the thing with this is because there are some applications where it needs to be permanently installed. And in that case, you can actually, power it via USB-C without batteries in, and it's then on, 24/7
Yeah,
basically.
sure, sure.
So different application. Thank you, Sher
Thanks,
Khan.
Shukran.
Thank you. Okay, so that's the AD3, and now we'll have a look at all the other transmitters that we have here. So let's start first with the ADX1M. So this is our micro body pack. As you can see, no antennas. It comes with a LEMO 3-pin port. For the microphone, yeah. And it's actually got a self-tuning helical antenna built into the device. And where that's important is that the antenna is actually tuned to be very efficient when the device is actually touching the skin. In most cases, when that happens or the antenna touches the skin, that's
I think this
not a
needs to
great
be,
thing.
This is a thing that needs to be explained a little bit because, usually what everyone knows and one is told is to try and keep the antenna of any transmitter from touching the body.
Yeah.
Because the human body is like 80% water.
Yeah.
Okay. So it absorbs a lot of the RF coming out of the transmitter.
Right.
So even if you put your transmitter 100 milliwatt, what's coming out of there, a lot of the 100 milliwatt is getting absorbed by your body.
Yeah.
Okay. But in this case, they want you to touch the skin. Because
in fact, it's very strange when we did our walk test, and the first one we did was with it hanging off the pocket, and we were like, something doesn't seem right. And then I came back the next day and I was like, hey, no, it's meant to touch the body. And when we did that, then we actually got the actual range that it's rated for.
And what this this means, allow it to touch the body to get better RF performance, means that what this unit is doing is basically compensating in some way to the absorption that's happening because the transmitter is touching the body, okay? And that is doing automatically. You don't have to deal with it, you know. It's happening inside the box. And the other thing is, one might start wondering, you want the transmitter to touch the body, transmitters get hot,
Even barely warm. And
they
you
start,
getting complaints.
they think that, it's going to leave a mark on their body, okay? But this thing's made out of, and of course, it runs at 20 milliwatt, but that's 20 milliwatt in the digital domain.
Right.
You can't compare 20 milliwatt from the digital domain and say, oh, it's only 20 milliwatt, because in analog, RF, you always talk at least 50 milliwatt,
Yeah.
if not 100.
So it is like a 50 milliwatt analog.
Which is now existing in the market, does only offer you 50 milliwatt in the analog domain, okay? So this is offering you exactly the same thing.
Right.
Plus, the other thing is, it's got, a battery.
Right.
You slide it out, right?
slide it out, yeah.
That's it. So battery at lunchtime or whatever. And you get a pretty good runtime, right, Fali?
Yeah, of course. I mean, with this at, the 20 milliwatts, which is on this battery.
And you can, reduce the RF to 10 milliwatt as well.
You can reduce the RF to 10 milliwatt. You can reduce it down to 2 milliwatts. And the great thing is you can extend that from the receiver.
That's a great thing because, let's say that your actors just finished the scene.
Right.
And then the next time he's going to be back on the set is after 45 minutes.
Right.
Okay. When they're doing some other shots. For that period of time, use the control signal and turn the RF off.
Yeah.
Put the transmitter to sleep.
Pretty much.
Right?
Yeah,
Pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then when the actor comes back, the transmitter's back on using the control signal.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
The other advantage...
Over here.
Okay.
But yeah, I know what
So,
you mean. It basically doesn't...
The LEMO connector on 3/4 of an inch, okay, 1.5, 2 centimeters. So a lot of that gets pushed into this, nook out here.
Yeah.
So effectively, in terms of the feed, and you can also take off the
Clip. Yeah.
clip.
You can pull the
very
clip
easily.
off,
You can
yeah.
pull the clip off.
Yeah.
Once you put it
Right.
in a pocket, and the actor will not feel it.
Right.
So that's great about this mini transmitter, the ADX1M.
Yeah.
Yeah, plus it's sweat resistant.
It is extremely
Oh.
sweat resistant,
water resistant as
you don't have to really worry about, sweat, and it was built pretty much for, broadcast and, where, for theater and stuff, where people will sweat to an extent, and it's extremely sweat resistant.
And one thing that most transmitters nowadays have is a USB port.
Yeah.
This one doesn't. Because that USB port, I'm glad there's no USB port on this.
Yep. You're welcome. Vinith, which I think you had taken
I'd
all
taken
the
both
three,
of
right?
no, I'd taken the 80.
Pretty much, it's just a little larger version of this with an antenna, and what that gives you is basically, you get a little more RF power, and with the antenna, you get a little more range,
So the other thing is this, you can use the Shure rechargeable battery.
Yeah.
Okay. Or you can put in a caddy there,
Yeah.
which takes 3 AA batteries.
3 AAA batteries.
AAA batteries, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can use NIMH AAA batteries as well.
Milliwatts, 10 hours, no problem at all. And at
At 100?
at 40 milliwatts, you're still... So that, still, I mean, excellent battery life. Vinith, I gave you spare batteries, if I remember, but did you end up using the
No,
spares at all?
never,
Nothing
never,
at all. So
no.
it was this, you
I mean,
have
I
a
would
fully
just
charged
like-
battery at the start of the day, and that's good for the day, basically.
Yeah. So, like, I mean,
What's that?
I mean, you can use a slot charger. I mean, the docking charger.
Yeah, the
as
docking
well.
charger for this.
Oh, yeah.
There are different form
So,
factors for chargers as well.
We have
so,
a charger interface here.
Yeah.
So it's about taking out the battery and
Yeah,
putting in.
exactly.
I can go. So this is, obviously this is coming from the fact that Shure's experience of having to deal with multiple transmitters, maybe
Right.
30, 40 transmitters of this
Oh,
kind,
yeah.
for stage,
Stage shows, yeah.
live
Yeah,
shows.
yeah.
So from there, that experience is you have a multi-slot charger
Yeah.
bay,
Yeah.
and everything goes in
Yeah,
straight.
you just dock it. There's no
and
need
then
to...
you take it out straight.
Yeah.
Try to change, batteries on 30 transmitters takes a considerable amount of time.
The typical protocol would be to actually, sometimes in like a reality show, for example, where crew is not always accessible to talent. So you can actually have docking stations with them in their room, and all they need to do is pull it out, dock it, go for a shower, get ready, whatever it is, half an hour, 40 minutes, and by the time you're back, you've got enough battery to go the rest of the day. Basically.
That's great. So if you have this on your cart, that's really great because you can charge your batteries at lunchtime without taking them out.
Yeah.
If there is a situation where you can't access the transmitter at all, you can leave that charger station in the vanity van of the actor.
Yep,
Then the actor can take it out and put it in there.
Yep.
And after 2 hours, come back to the set with the transmitter.
With the transmitter, exactly.
And fully charged battery.
Yep, fully charged. Yep. We're going to have a look now at some of the Q5X stuff. And this one is the Q5X Aqua mic.
Okay, so the Q5X, if people don't know about it, it's been around for quite a while, hopefully, many years now.
Yep.
And their primary USP is that they make these RF devices, transmitters, very rugged, waterproof, and sometimes even sports industry a lot.
Right.
That's what was their main industry.
Right.
But now with Shure coming in and liaising, connecting with Q5X.
So the interesting thing is that Q5 makes these transmitters in both analog and digital. But these ones are the only ones that are digital, and the only digital receiver that will support them is Axient Digital.
Yeah, so basically Q5 has lent its technology to Axient, and Axient and Q5 have both collaborated to create these particular transmitters. Right? So what's great about this, it's called an Aqua mic.
Right.
Can we?
Yep. In fact, we've had one in water for, since we started recording this. And, it's unfortunately the glass is a little small, but the transmitter is completely submerged in the water. And, you can just pull it out. Hey, check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah. And, the twin and to water. So typically, even if I do something like this and then just knock off the water and then go back and say, hey, hello, check, 1, 2, 1, 2, that should be pretty good. You can have them in water up to 10 meters deep.
10 meters is good, 33 feet,
Yeah.
So anyway, out here, what we have here is, you can see 2 antennas again now. Wonder why 2 antennas? This one is for the control signal.
Yeah. Which is actually controlled by this little
by the
controller.
transmitter.
Yeah.
You can control this, plus you have a device like a remote control that gives you complete control over the Q5 transmitters.
Yeah.
All, 3 of them.
All of them.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, this one has an internal battery.
Right.
You can't take out the battery. But once you charge it, how long does it work?
So there are multiple battery lives. I think you have the one which is 8 hours. The one in here is 16 hours.
16 hours.
Yeah. And the 2 player mics are, this one's 4 hours and this one's 8 hours.
So the one in the glass
16 hours, yeah.
Is similar to this.
Yeah, it's just slightly thicker because of a bigger battery.
Yeah, it's got a bigger battery and it can run 16 hours.
16 hours, yeah.
And this one can run 8 hours.
That one can run 8 hours, and you can do similar remote control from this.
Shut it down during lunchtime and all that.
Yeah, you can put it into storage mode.
even
Pretty much
8 hours
everything
is
else you
pretty-
can do with the others. Yeah.
Yeah, even 8 hours is pretty good because I would say on a typical, shoot day, if you are if you're able to manage the device by turning it off during lunchtime and you know that it's not going to be used for a while.
Yeah.
Turn it off. Use the control signal.
Right.
You can easily last a full 12-hour day of shoot, right?
So no more trouble of cast wearing body packs and jumping into the swimming pool unannounced.
Some we do have some situations, artificial rain, whatever. This takes care of that, right?
Yeah.
Now, let's see the other
So this one's the
flavor of the Q5.
player mic.
So this is called the player mic. So here again you have 2 antennas.
Yep.
Okay, and you have a little piece of cable with a LEMO connector on it.
Right.
Okay. Now, this is a limo connector that allows you to connect a microphone into this unit. Okay. Now, the unit is flexible.
Yeah. And the main idea is that if
So-
it's on players or like action sequences
Let's say
or
that
whatnot,
it's fixed on a place where
Right.
the unit is going to bend because it's fixed around, and let's say there's a helmet or something
Yeah.
or a protection, and then so if the body
Moves with the
flexes,
wrist, basically, yeah.
the unit also flexes. So that's a great advantage in those situations.
Right.
We might end up having to use something like this in certain action sequences, etc.
Right, right.
You never know. Okay.
Right.
So what's the battery power on
So
this?
the battery now runtime on these, again, 2 flavors. The larger one is 8 hours, and the shorter one is 4 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
And all controls.
Yeah, all
using that remote
controlled
control.
via this little
So
remote control
these
over
can't
here.
be, these are not Show-Link enabled.
No,
right?
these are not
These-
Show-Link
yeah.
enabled because the Q5X control method is different. So you can't remote control them from the receivers, but that's where this little handy controller comes in.
And this also works something like the ZigBee, right?
It's something like the ZigBee,
So
and
you do get good range.
you get
for the
amazing range
control
with
signal.
this. Great range, in fact, with this. So yeah, that's the transmitters, the control for Q5X. The ADX transmitters get controlled from the receivers or from the app. And yeah, that's pretty much all the the various transmitter options that we have. Yep.
Great.
So now that we've seen all the transmitters, let's actually take them outside and actually do a real-world walk test, and let's see the results. So let's head outside. Hey guys, so welcome to hot and sunny Mumbai. I'm with my colleague Devraj Panikar, and Dev and me are going to be conducting a walk test. So we are in this pretty large playground, and I've measured like the end back there. Might be difficult to see for now, but right at the back there, it's about 120 odd meters. So Dev is actually going to take a walk, right around, and I've got a camera focused on the receiver. So just for your info, Dave is carrying one ADX5D with him, tuned to my frequency, just so that I can speak to him, okay? And his 2 frequencies, he's wearing an ADX1 on the left. So on the left side, you're hearing an ADX1. On the right, you're hearing the ADX1M, okay? And those will also get recorded, and you'll get an idea, basically, of the entire range. Okay, so Dave is all ready to go on his bit of his walk test. If you hear a little wind or something rustle, I mean, that's okay. There's just a lot of breeze up here right now, and we don't have, foamies and...
It's a windy day.
And yeah, it's a windy day, so unfortunately. But Dave, all good, let's go. Good. And Dave's going to take a round all across the building. Right till the back there where you see that little hut back there, that's about 120 meters. So let Dev take a nice full walk, and we'll catch up with him on the other side. Okay, Dev, over to you.
See you soon.
And here on you can have a close-up look at the device, and you'll get to have a idea of fluctuating RF or anything like that. Once again, don't worry too much about the wind noise. Little unavoidable for today. Yeah, you can see channel number 1, which is the ADX1 at 40 milliwatts, pretty robust. Channel number 2 is the ADX1M. Again, we are only using the whips, no large antennas or anything, just the whips that come with the device. And yeah, now we can hear a lot of wind.
Yeah, this is
Quite a
really
bit.
open space.
Yeah, it's clearly open, a lot of wind there. If you have a look there,
It's a very open space.
yeah, it's completely open back there. So anyways, so I think Dave's now reached at the back there, and you can see you still have a good amount of RF on transmitter 1, which is the ADX1, and you have a little reduction on the ADX1M, but that's to be understood because the ADX1M does not have an external antenna. It's an inbuilt helical antenna. So Dave, can you hear me clearly back there?
Yeah, this is loud and clear.
Yeah, loud and clear. So I'm on 40 milliwatts, Dave is on 40 milliwatts, and the micro body pack is on 20 milliwatt. On channel 2, you can still see that there is some signal coming in. So, clearly it's not such a big issue. You're getting the kind of range, 120 meters at the moment to the back where Dave is. And just to give you some perspective, that's... Dave, can you wave your hand?
I'm right here. I mean, you may see a bit of leaves in between, but yeah, I'm
Yeah,
in the
we
very
see you,
area.
we see you, yeah. So that's right back, that's a good, clean 120 meters. Yeah, so was I dropping out for you at all along the way, or also pretty clean?
Yeah, it was
No
all
problem.
clean.
All clean,
the
all
way
good.
through.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, cool. So that's it for you guys. That's our walk test, and I hope it just gives you an idea of, the RF robustness that the Axient digital system from Shure is known for. That's it, and we'll see you back in the studio. So that was our walk test, and as you can see in that, we got pretty good range. We got about 130 odd meters on this guy, and we were around 80 to 100 meters on this, which is expected. It's lower power and with a built-in antenna, so that's kind of expected. But yeah, those were the results of our walk test. Yep.
Pretty good.
Pretty good?
I must say,
Yep.
yes.
Cool, cool. I hope you guys enjoyed being with us for this past hour just to have a look at this entire Axient digital ecosystem. And we have now products for demo. You can reach out to me. I'll have the links down in the description. So you can reach out to us, email us, and coordinate some time for a demo session with all the products. And you can get in touch with Vinod at Overtone for the pricing of the products. And we hope to see these products helping you out in your live productions very soon. Thanks very much, Vinod. Thanks very
you so
much,
much,
Vinit. Great having you here. And we hope you guys stay safe, stay well, and we'll probably see you on the field very soon. Yep. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.